When anybody thinks back to the WWE's peak of popularity, the Attitude Era, they'll no doubt recall the rebellious attitude of Stone Cold Steve Austin, the man who gave the middle finger to authority and wouldn't trust anybody but himself. He was at the time one of the most prolific wrestlers in the business, and entered main event feuds with the likes of The Rock, Vince McMahon and Triple H, which in return gave us a long list of unforgettable moments. Whilst we got memorable moments of Austin turning heel, allying with his longtime nemesis Vince McMahon, a Rock vs Austin Part 3 at WrestleMania 19, and his run as general manager on Raw, there could have been a time where these moments never would have happened, as according to Austin himself, his life nearly came to an end in 1999, 4 years before he ultimately hung up his wrestling boots. In fact, the Texas Rattlesnake revealed he came close to death in 2 different stunts, both in WWE. Austin explained his first near-death experience on his show The Steve Austin Podcast. On the April 19, 1999 edition of Monday Night Raw, the night coincidentally started off with The Rock declaring Austin to be dead, after last week's edition of Raw saw The Rock throw him over a bridge and into a river below. The Rock even read his eulogy, which eerily could have become a reality at the end of the night. Nevertheless, Austin survived the ordeal, showing up at his own funeral with a monster truck, destroying The Rock's new $30,000 Lincoln Continental live on television. Astonishingly, Austin breezed through the most dangerous part of the stunt, which was driving the truck, which only actually took him 15 minutes to learn to drive. It was, however, the events leading up to the stunt that nearly ended the Rattlesnake's life. As he explained on his podcast, "So I go into the back door of the arena, and I'm in a holding room with a couple of curtains in front of me. The monster truck was loud as, and that 1,800 horsepower motor is churning out exhaust fumes. So I'm in this room and they shut the door behind me. It was about a 3-minute commercial break, so the whole time the people back home are watching commercials, I'm in a room, inside a truck, breathing methanol alcohol fumes. I could barely breathe. I was just begging for the show to come back on air, so I could charge out in the audience and get a breath of fresh air. I'm breathing all those exhaust fumes. I was just going to crash that gate doing 98 miles per hour and go take my own cue and haul ass into the arena. If they hadn't have cued me when they did, I was about to die. Luckily, Austin made it out in time and lived to tell the tale." However, in another act of vehicular destruction, Austin was again close to a near-death experience. On an April 2000 edition of SmackDown, and after a 6-month absence, Austin returned in The Rock's corner and kindly reminded Triple H and DX of the consequences if the group so happens to mess with him. This turned out to be blowing up the DX Express bus. The stunt involved Austin having to control the crane himself to drop the cement girder onto the bus. Austin explained on his podcast that leading up to his stunts involving vehicles, he's normally given only 15 to 20 minutes of practice with that certain vehicle. Though in his words, he requests that limited time because he can drive anything, whether this be a Zamboni or monster truck. This time, however, it was a crane, and Austin was confident in working the different levers during practice. However, when Austin left the crane operator had pulled the arm all the way up, making it harder for Austin to just swing the girder into place and drop it on the bus. The girder was also closer to the cab, so Austin wasn't able to swing it like he had done in the rehearsal. When cameras started rolling and it came time for him to do the stunt, Austin made the girder come forward instead, turning 90 degrees on its own with the pointed end heading straight towards him in the cab. Austin told the girder came 7 to 8 inches away from the glass, and revealed that at the time he genuinely thought the girder was going to hit him in the head and he was going to die. Luckily, that was as close as it got. Had it gone through, there would have been 0 chance Austin would have survived. Could you imagine the WWE without the Rattlesnake at the time? Thankfully, with his retirement, Austin need not carry out any more stunts. What was your favourite Stone Cold Steve Austin moment? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.